What's going on, everyone? Welcome to this month's Mastermind video. I'm Matthew Moybon, co-founder of 220 Leadership. And this month, we wanted to dive into something that is a funny topic, and it's motivation. So a lot of times people think that they characterize themselves as a lazy person. I'm just lazy, or I'm not motivated to do that. I'm not motivated to do well in school. I'm not motivated to go above and beyond, to go find a job, or do the things necessary to get better at my passion, or step out of my comfort zone, or make new friends, or whatever it is, right? There's this gap that a lot of people think is there that's motivation. And most of the time, what it really is a disconnection between where you're at and seeing how this activity or this thing that you want to do, or you should be doing, but can't, it's disconnected to something that you really care about. You can't make the connection of how this activity will actually provide a positive impact to things that you do care about, even if it's not obvious, right? So things like, maybe this assignment in school doesn't seem like that big a deal, so it's like, well, why would I do that when I can catch up on Westworld, or watch the next show of whatever, or catch up on social media, or go out with my friends? But when you think about that assignment in the context of doing well in school, because you really care about getting into this college or getting this job after college, then all of a sudden it has big term implications, right? So it's actually not about, am I a motivated person or not? Because nobody is motivated as a characteristic, and nobody is lazy as a characteristic. We just become motivated or become lazy by the way we look at things, right? And so that's hopefully something that you guys have figured out by going through the Kickstarter, or if you went through a workshop with us and set that unrealistic vision. That is the compelling future. That's the reason that you guys get excited and motivated to go do something, right? It's creating that vision that gets you over that feeling of being lazy or wanting you to do something comfortable, right? So motivation really comes from inside, and there's external motivation, things like people telling you to do something, or fear of getting in trouble if you don't do it. But to really accomplish special things, you have to find that intrinsic motivation within you. The way you do that is by creating that compelling future, something that you get excited about, something that you're really passionate about, that motivates you to do the things necessary to be successful, to overcome obstacles, to do all of the special things required to achieve success, right? And success defined by you. So hopefully, like we said, you went through that first stage of the Kickstarter with design, which ends with you setting that unrealistic vision for your life in those three areas: work, lifestyle, and relationships. Okay? So on the topic of motivation, I thought it'd be cool to share 5 of my favorite quotes that I come to when sometimes I have that feeling of laziness or motivation, or it's hard for me to get excited about something in the context of my business or working out or whatever it is. Sometimes we need that push or little reminder, and that's all it takes, right? We talked about creating your vision boards. That's a really powerful tool that I love. It's a constant reminder of why I set these goals in the first place, that helps get me motivated again. The other thing you can really do is put the right people around you. Make sure that the people that are important in your life, and make sure there are people in your life, right? You're surrounding yourself with people that care about you and want to see you succeed. So assuming those people are there, tell them about it. Tell them about your goals. Tell them about what you're trying to do, and they'll be that supportive team for you that can help you achieve those goals and get you out of funks when you're unmotivated, or when you're feeling bad, or when you feel like you've failed, or when you're unsuccessful, or you're really far away from your goal. That supportive team can really help you. And the other thing that can help you, though, is if you have an arsenal of things like the vision board, the supportive team, and also something else that gets you really excited. Maybe it's a song. Maybe it's a movie. Maybe it's going for a run. Or lifting. There's always really positive things that come from actually moving your body that can get you in a much better mood, a much better state to get motivated again. But here are 5 quotes that I wanted to share with you that always help me get back in a better frame of mind to get motivated again, and just provide a really good perspective on life as a whole and how your goals fit in and what is really within your control and what isn't, and what you should focus on so that you are enjoying the process and not necessarily only focused on the do or die of did I achieve the end goal or not. All right, so let's get into it. The first quote is from Oprah. And if you've been in a workshop with us, we've probably quoted her before because she's amazing. She has infinite wisdom. But this one I really love because it actually goes back to just the fundamental beginning and how you should look at things, right? When you're feeling down or feeling unmotivated. The quote is, be thankful for what you have. You'll end up having more. If you concentrate on what you don't have, you will never, ever have enough. So hopefully that makes sense. If you think about it, and we've talked about this too, the law of attraction, you get more of what you focus on, right? So if you're only focused on what you don't have, then more of that is going to present itself to you, right? That the more you focus on that, that's more of what you'll see or what you'll think about or what you'll expect from people or what you'll pick out from interactions and experiences where there may actually be something better going on, but because that's what you're focused on, that's what you see or that's what you think about, and you keep getting more of that. So the way to flip that is to actually not worry about your future goals or not worry about where you feel like you're not already, and think about what can I be grateful for right now in my life? What do I have that I can be super thankful for that is just a reflection of me having really positive things in my life, positive people, positive accomplishments, positive values, being really comfortable with who I am deep in my core as a person. And then the beauty of that is that all of a sudden you're focused on the person that you are and the life that you already have, which makes it way more likely that you're going to believe you're capable of accomplishing this goal that before, when you were focused on what you don't have, seemed impossible or seemed way too far away or seemed way too challenging. So being grateful is so powerful because you can't be grateful and fearful at the same time. You can't be grateful and angry at the same time, right? So when you flip and you turn on that gratitude, all of a sudden it's a mindset of abundance. It's the mindset of I have what I need, right? I just need to do it. I just need to think better about myself, better about my goals, and better about what I'm capable of, and put it into action. So that's why I love this quote. It's always kind of a snap back to reality and think big. Everything that you focus on that's negative usually isn't as big a deal as you think it is, right? So great quote from Oprah. Quote number 2. We also talk about Thomas Edison a lot. Obviously, he's a great example. This one is really good. Many of life's failures are people who did not realize how close they were to success when they gave up. Now, this is a tough one, and it's always hard for people to see who obviously gave up. It's hard for them to say, oh yeah, I was so close, I didn't even know that. But the people that have succeeded, people that we know of, like Thomas Edison, or pick your favorite role model, the people that we know of because they've accomplished really powerful things, went through the exact same things that those people who gave up went through, right? So none of the people that we see in the limelight today, whether it's social media, on the news, or wherever it is, on primetime TV, or on the athletic courts or the fields, whatever it is, those people didn't just have a smooth, easy ride, right? It looks like that. They make it look effortless and easy, but all we're seeing is where they are in public right now, and they're being rewarded. What doesn't get talked about near enough, they're being rewarded now for what they practiced for years in private, right? And so those people that we don't know their name of, that maybe could have been Thomas Edison or could have been the next fill in the blank, there probably were people that were close or that were right there at a breakthrough, but they just were so fed up. They thought, I'm so done. I can't even put in another trial, or I can't put in another 5 trials, that they just gave up. And what happened was they never got to figure out if they would have accomplished it because they gave up too soon. So don't be one of those people. I love that quote. Third quote, life doesn't happen to you, it happens for you, by Tony Robbins. You've probably heard us quote Tony Robbins a lot. He is personally one of my top role models of all time. And this quote is actually really scary and really, really motivating at the same time. So it's really scary because when you say that life doesn't happen to me, right? There are external events that are outside of your control. But 90 to 95%, maybe even 98, 99% of your life is dictated by your thoughts and your actions. Now, on the one hand, like we said, very, very motivating because all of a sudden, I'm in control of my life. If something's not going the way I want it to go, I can fix it. If I'm not making enough money, I can figure out a way to make more money. If I'm not happy in my relationships, I can fix my relationships. I have the power to do that. If I'm not doing well in school or not doing well at my job, I have the power to fix that, right? I have the power to be a problem solver if I accept the fact that life happens for me. It happens as a result of my thoughts and actions. Now that's also scary because that puts a lot of responsibility on you. But if you want to live a great life, then this is a quote that you have to live by because it's so empowering if you accept the fact that I take ownership over my life. I know that if I want to change something, my thoughts and actions just have to change. And then all of a sudden, I can start to get results in my life that I want. So love that quote by Tony Robbins. Number 4. And I've actually just found this quote today when I was looking to make sure I had these quotes right. So I was really excited I found it. The more you focus on results, the slower the process. The more you focus on the process, the faster the results. And I don't want to botch this guy's name, but his name is Alexander Dehn. He's a Dutch motivational speaker. And there's a lot of variations of this quote, but this was one that I really liked how it was laid out. And a lot of times when we talk about setting goals, the purpose of just setting goals is not to just achieve a goal, right? Because if all you're focused on is that end result, then number one, you're going to realize that just accomplishing the goal in itself was not as fulfilling or as exciting as you thought it was going to be. That's just how it is. The way that you counter that, and there's a lot of evidence, if you don't believe me, there's a lot of evidence to counter that. You can go and find that on your own. But the way to counter that is to set a goal that puts you inside of a process that you enjoy, right? So actually all of your time spent trying to achieve a goal is going to be in that trying to achieve the goal, right? The process of things you do on a weekly basis, daily basis, monthly basis. That is the goal, right? So if you don't set yourself up to do something where you enjoy the process, then that outcome is going to be unfulfilling. And the other thing, which is what Alexander's talking about, is the more you only focus on the end goal, because maybe you're not enjoying the process or you haven't found a way to enjoy it and fall in love with the process, is the process is going to go slower because the goal comes from the process being really strong. And if all you're focused on is that end result, the process is going to suffer, right? You're not going to be as motivated to put in the work you need to on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday when you're really tired, right? Because you're just focused on the end result and the fact that you don't have it yet. Going back to that first Oprah quote. So the more you focus on just the end result, the slower everything's going to go. But if you focus on the process and make sure that the process is as great as it can possibly be, then all of a sudden we're doing the things that we need to do to achieve that end goal. And if we can fall in love with that process, then all of a sudden we're loving life, right? Because what we do on a daily basis is fun. We enjoy it. We enjoy growing, challenging ourselves, And then all of a sudden that end result becomes less important, right? It's all about putting yourself in position from that goal to do a process and fall in love with the process, right? Because that's how you're actually going to spend your time. And if you wait until the end, you're going to be disappointed, and it's going to come slower than it would have otherwise if you focus on the process. Awesome. So then this quote from Jim Carrey is one of our favorites that we talk about. We show a video about it, but I just thought it was worth bringing up again because a lot of times we get discouraged because we think things are very tough or challenging, or we always use the word unrealistic. And so it may be better or easier for me to go the safe route or to, just altogether avoid something that I would really love doing. So the quote is, "I learned many great lessons from my father, not the least of which is that you can fail at what you don't want. So you might as well take a chance on doing what you love." And I just love that because that resonates with me so much. So when I was in banking, before I started 220, I knew I wanted to be an entrepreneur, but being in finance and in banking was for sure the safe route. I was a finance major. And so I was in banking for 3 years. I was doing really well. I was the top analyst in my group and really couldn't have been doing too much more. I was getting amazing feedback at how well I was doing, and I was up for this promotion. And so I went in for my meeting with my boss to talk about, what the next steps were for next year in terms of, where was I getting an increase in salary. And I was right on track for a promotion, so I was expecting to hear that I got promoted. And I didn't. I didn't get promoted. And that was basically an example of me failing at what I didn't ultimately want because I knew I wanted to be an entrepreneur. And Jim Carrey talks about that with his dad, who settled for being an accountant, even though he was as funny, or Jim Carrey said funnier than he was. But he didn't think that was possible for him, so he settled for a safe job, and he ended up getting fired from that job anyway. So that's to say that if you're doing something that you love and you're setting a goal around something you love, stick with it, right? Because you can go the safe route and still end up failing anyway, so you might as well take a chance on doing what you love. And then we've got a bonus quote that I just love. This is from one of my favorite people that I wanted to share. It's from Tim Ferriss, and it goes back to the concept of unrealistic. And a lot of times when we think about achieving really challenging goals, we think about it as this super tough, grueling, long process, right? It's going to be way harder than achieving some goal that's safer or in a safer realm, right? Like not starting our own company or not making a living off of art or our passions or doing what we love. But this quote flips that on its head a little bit, and I love this concept because it really resonated with me, and hopefully it will with you. So here we go. Achieving the unrealistic is actually easier than achieving the realistic. I want to repeat that first part. Achieving the unrealistic is actually easier than achieving the realistic. 99% of people in the world are convinced that they are incapable of achieving great things, so they aim for the mediocre. The level of competition is thus fiercest for realistic goals, paradoxically making them the most time and energy consuming goals. Think about that. I mean, that is transformational. It was for me when I first read it. It's in his book, The 4-Hour Workweek. Thinking about how most people settle for what they think they are capable of, which is mediocre, instead of stretching outside of them, being willing to think that something amazing is possible for them, or that they could accomplish something amazing. And you think about some of the revolutionary ideas, like all of these, the social media companies or companies like Amazon that have just revolutionized, or not even revolutionized, they've created new industries. Elon Musk is another example. You can think of all these other ones. Those are just business examples, but people that have basically done things that no one else thought was possible resulted in them not really having competition because no one else could conceive the idea and believe that it was possible, right? So what it means is if you've come up with a crazy idea about what you want your life to look like, or what you think you could do for work, or what you think your lifestyle design could be, or what your relationships could look like, and that's traditionally viewed as unrealistic, then that means you're on the right track. That's a really good sign because you're going to have less competition for that idea. So, those are the quotes. I added in a bonus one. Hopefully those are helpful for you. If you need to, write those down. I'll post them below so you can have them, but make sure to just use them when you need them, right? There's never going to be the perfect process where you get excited every day, you never get discouraged, you always feel motivated, right? There's always going to be those days that are tougher where you're more tired, more frustrated, more discouraged, feel like you're further away than you've ever been. Use those tools we talked about at the beginning, but if you need them, use these 5 plus the bonus quotes because these really help me. And like I said, hopefully they'll help you. That's all we got for the Mastermind this month. I'm Matthew Moybon from 220. Dream big, never settle, live 220.